Khabib Nurmagomedov in EA Sports UFC 1 was massively underpowered, but that is not the case in UFC 2. In EA Sports UFC 2, he is by far the best fighter in the lightweight division. He comes in at number 10 on my list because of how well-rounded he is. When using Khabib, you get to dictate where the fight takes place. You want the fight to go to the ground, it will go to the ground. You want the fight on the feet, it will stay on the feet. And if you want the fight in the clinch, it will stay in the clinch. Khabib is the perfect fighter to use when you want to have the tools to both defend yourself effectively and attack from every single possible position in the game. He is truly a force to be reckoned with, and if you haven't used him yet, I strongly recommend that you try out Khabib. You might get hooked. Anthony Pettis in EA Sports UFC 2 is the fighter you want to use when you're in the mood to have some fun, relaxed, yet devastating striking matches. He comes in at number 9 on this list because of the crazy amount of striking techniques available to you. From scissor kicks, tornado kicks, spinning wheel kicks, to the Showtime kick off the cage, you have a wide variety of strikes available to you if you want to get creative and flashy. Overall, he is one of the absolute best strikers in the whole entire game, and if you are as much of a striking fan as I am, he will definitely make your top 10 list as well. Junior Cigano dos Santos comes in at number 8 on my list for quite a few reasons. He is one of my favorite fighters in all of MMA. He is a heavyweight in the game, which means that he can end fights in the blink of an eye. And when it comes to boxing, especially in the heavyweight division, he is my go-to guy. He has both overhand punches, both roundhouse body kicks, good footwork and overall speed, and he has the heavy hand perk level 4, which means that with JDS, all it takes is a few clean punches and your opponent will be critically rocked. He is also one of the taller guys in that division, so distance management will not be a problem for you at all against the top characters in the game. He is just an overall solid, fun character to use if you want to focus mostly on boxing and striking, and that's why he comes in at number 8 on my list. Luke Rockhold is the Chris Weidman killer. And if you've played EA Sports UFC 2 in the middleweight division, then you know that Weidman is a problem. His stats are ridiculously over-exaggerated, and barely anyone can really keep up with them, except Rockhold. Luke Rockhold is tall, he has the reach, he has the footwork and movement speed to move around the cage very quickly, he has the power, he has the conditioning, he has amazing clinch and ground stats, and his takedown defense is also on point. That, plus the fact that he was assigned 5 incredible perks, all a level 3 and above, and what you have is a force in the middleweight division and also one of the absolute best fighters in the whole entire game. The middleweight division is one of my least favorite divisions in the game, but when I do decide to fight there and I really want to be competitive, Luke Rockhold is my go-to guy. A top 10 favorite fighters list will not be complete without George St Pierre, and the biggest reason is he is top 3 when it comes to my all-time favorite fighters. When he was still active in the UFC, I honestly did not miss a GSP fight. The way he technically shut down opponents with his wrestling will always be impressive to any educated fan, and in EA Sports UFC 2, I believe he was absolutely done justice. He is the guy you want to use when you want to be ready for anything your opponent throws at you. He is tall enough for the division so you won't really run into any distance management issues, and he is also fast enough and well conditioned enough that you shouldn't feel slow and sluggish in there. What makes GSP great in the game though is the confidence he gives you when you go out there and you just fight your fight, because you know that wherever the fight goes, you can hang. You can hang when you have GSP. If it goes to the ground, you have the ground stats to hold your own. If it stays on the feet or goes to the clinch, you also have the stats to back you up. Just like in real life, he is one of the most well-rounded fighters in the game, and that's why he comes in at number 6 on this list. You should definitely try him out if you have not done that yet. Alistair Overeem is the definition of lethal in this game. In EA Sports UFC 1, he really wasn't done justice, but in this game, you can really destroy opponents who make the mistake of standing with you when you have Overeem. It doesn't matter who it is, doesn't matter if it's Cain Velasquez, doesn't matter if it's Fabricio Verdum, it does not matter who it is. So what does he do well? Well, let's start with his height. At 6'4" and an 80-inch reach, you will have absolutely no trouble with your distance management, and for me, that is a very big plus. He has all the striking techniques necessary to be successful. The rear overhand punch, the lead overhand punch, the heavy body punch, the lead roundhouse kick to the body, the rear roundhouse kick to the body, and lastly, and probably the most important, is the calf kick, which does an incredible amount of damage when it lands. He is not just a striker though, he has very decent ground stats and an incredible clinch game. His clinch control is very good and his knees in the clinch are just nasty. This, coupled with 5 really nice perks, and what you have is a very dangerous man in an already very dangerous division. Definitely test him out if you haven't already. Go out there, use Overeem, and you will see exactly what I'm talking about. So far on this list, I've included a lot of strikers, and for obvious reason. My style of play favors strikers, but not just any kind of striker. It favors strikers who make very good use of their footwork, and Conor McGregor is a perfect example. In EA Sports UFC 2, I don't think any fighter was done justice as much as Conor McGregor. They really focused on making Conor McGregor as good as possible. He was done justice and more actually, as some of his stats, especially on the ground, are a bit inflated and exaggerated, but when it comes to his striking stats, they nailed it. His left-hand power stats at 75 is the highest in the featherweight division. His footwork stats at 90 is also the highest in the featherweight division, not counting Bruce Lee. His punch speed at 90 is also the highest in division, not counting Bruce Lee, and this makes Conor McGregor the perfect counter striker in that division. That, coupled with his height, reach, and some ridiculous perks, all a level 2 and above, Conor McGregor is one of those fighters that just makes you tense up because you know you're in for a fight. Because of how good he is used a lot in the game. In fact, he is probably the most used character in the game aside from John Jones. I love Conor McGregor because he just gives me the confidence knowing that I can relax, take my time, and just focus on technical kickboxing. And that's why he comes in at number 4 on this list. You've probably used Conor McGregor if you own this game and you know exactly what I'm talking about. The fighter in number 3 also features another man known for his movement and footwork. In fact, he has the best footwork in all of MMA, and that could only really be rivaled by Demetrius Johnson. Dominick Cruz comes in at number 3 on this list because it represents the style of fighting that I favor the most. I love the distance game, the patience game, the thinking man's game, the Floyd Mayweather game, the striking game that truly represents what striking is about. Hitting your opponent without getting hit. And with Dominick Cruz, I get to do just that. His movement stats at 95 is amazing. That plus his speed, the fluidity perk at level 5, untouchable perk at level 5, and the marathoner perk at level 2, what you have is a man that is very hard to hit. He isn't just a striker though. With Dominick Cruz, you can rest assured that you have the tools to defend yourself no matter where the fight goes. His offensive and defensive takedown stats are one of the best in his division, and his stamina and overall conditioning is very, very good as well, so you know for a fact that you can go 5 hard rounds with Cruz and still have some gas left in the tank. He is very, very well-rounded, very elusive, and gives me the ability to truly enjoy moving around and being elusive. Definitely, without a shred of a doubt, top 3 on my list. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson comes in at number 2 on my list because just like Dominick Cruz and Conor McGregor, he gives me the ability to fight in my absolute favorite style, and that is the distance game. I always talk about the distance game because I absolutely love it. When you think of Stephen Thompson, the first thing that comes to mind is his movement, his angles, his counter shots, his speed, his creativity, his karate. The man is simply a kickboxer in every sense of the word. His understanding of distance, the right distance to throw a strike from and still give yourself enough time to retreat, is probably the best in the UFC. And in EA Sports UFC 2, I feel like he does this very well as well. When you use Stephen Thompson, in your arsenal are a wide variety of striking techniques. From overhand punches to body kicks to very fast head kicks, all the way to spinning wheel kicks, you will never run out of strikes to throw with Stephen Thompson. If what you want to do is strike, pure, unadulterated kickboxing, then Stephen Thompson is your man. If you haven't used him yet, you should. You won't be disappointed. And here we are, number 1. My absolute favorite fighter to use in EA Sports UFC 2, Edson Barboza. Edson Barboza comes in at number 1 on my list, not because he is so good or because he is the best fighter in his division. Nope. He is not better than Pettis. He is not better than Khabib. And there are a few more guys in his division in the game that can give him a run for his money. He comes in at number 1 on my list because he is the one fighter that feels as devastating as he should on the feet. Edson Barboza is a lethal Muay Thai kickboxer in real life and in the UFC. He is the only man to finish a fight twice by leg kicks. This is not something just about anyone can do. I mean, these fighters are incredibly tough and durable, and to finish a fight twice by a leg kick is an incredible achievement. In EA Sports UFC 2, this power translates loud and clear. The second you start getting hit with those leg kicks from Edson, the first thing that comes to mind is, I gotta get this fight to the ground. They are so fast, so difficult to read, so difficult to check and block, and so difficult to recover from once your legs are badly hurt. His kicks are so fast, the only way you can defend against them is to anticipate them. I don't care how good your reaction time is, you are not consistently blocking those kicks on reaction. No way. That, plus all the incredible striking techniques he has in his arsenal, from the body kicks to the overhand punches, what you have in Edson Barboza is one of the scariest strikers in the game. No other striker in the game makes me feel desperate for a takedown, not even Conor McGregor. If what you want to do is put the fear of God in your opponent, pick Edson Barboza and just focus on leg kicks. Your opponent will be shooting for takedowns, desperate takedowns over and over again, and this whole package that he comes with, his striking ability, his speed, his power, his amazing perks, is why Edson Barboza comes in at number 1 on my list of top 10 favorite fighters to use in EA Sports UFC 2.